Now, it has been 8 years since the Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370 disappeared. The flight had 239 passengers on board. There have been many theories and questions raised regarding the mystery of the missing flight, and 8 years later, the story continues to unfold.
Scientists finally found the location of Malaysian Flight 370. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, which had 239 passengers and crew on board, disappeared without a trace, making it one of the biggest aviation mysteries. For a long time, people couldn't find where the plane went, but now researchers have found its location and a surprising discovery revealed in this video. So for further information, stay tuned. The vanishing of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 is a puzzling event in aviation history. This Boeing 777-200 ER took off from Kuala Lumpur on March 8, 2014, headed for Beijing with 227 passengers and 12 crew members. Initially, everything seemed normal, but after about 38 minutes, the plane disappeared from civilian radar when its transponder went off or failed. Although it vanished from civilian radar, military radar continued to track it as it changed its course over the Malay Peninsula instead of heading to Beijing. The plane's satellite communication system sent occasional pings to satellite, indicating that it was still flying and powered. The last ping was at 8:11 a.m., almost 7 hours after it lost contact with air traffic control. This mysterious disappearance led to a massive search operation. On March 8, 2014, when the flight didn't arrive in Beijing as scheduled, it was declared missing. The search for Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 was like a real-life mystery movie. It started in the South China Sea on March 8th and expanded to the Strait of Malacca on March 9th through the 11th. Then military radar data suggested the plane might have turned back on March 12th through the 14th, leading to a broader search area in the Andaman Sea. Countries worldwide, including China, the US, and India, joined forces to find the plane. They used ships, planes, and satellite data. On March 15, 2014, Malaysia's Prime Minister revealed that someone intentionally disabled the plane's communication systems and it might have flown for up to 7 hours based on satellite pings. This led to two possible flight paths, one north and one south. The focus shifted to the southern corridor, with Australia leading the search in the southern Indian Ocean. They spotted potential debris in satellite images but couldn't confirm it was from MH370. On March 24, 2014, the Prime Minister announced that the plane's last known position was in the vast southern Indian Ocean off the coast of Perth, Australia. The search became a global effort involving ships and aircraft from various nations. They even detected signals that could be from the plane's black boxes, but these clues didn't lead to a breakthrough. The search intensified with underwater drones and high-tech equipment deployed to explore the ocean floor in pursuit of solving this captivating aviation mystery. Despite extensive search efforts and advanced technology, the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 remains a heartbreaking puzzle, leaving families and the aviation community in turmoil. The world united in a massive effort to solve this enigma, but the plane's final location and the reasons behind its vanishing act remain elusive. Now, consider this twist. One of the most controversial and intriguing theories suggests that the pilot, Zahari Ahmad Shah, intentionally diverted the plane off course, possibly as an act of suicide, leading to a tragic end in the southern Indian Ocean. What supports this theory? Firstly, the plane's unusual flight path. It departed from Kuala Lumpur, bound for Beijing, but suddenly changed course, turned off its tracking systems, and reversed over the Malay Peninsula before running out of fuel and crashing into the Indian Ocean. The second part of the puzzle involves Captain Zahari himself. He was an experienced pilot with an impeccable record, a family man with no history of mental health issues or misconduct. Yet, some experts wonder if personal or professional problems might have driven him to make this devastating decision. It's a gripping and perplexing theory within an already bewildering aviation mystery. Adding another layer to this theory is the absence of distress signals or communication from the plane. According to this idea, Zahari intentionally avoided contact with air traffic control or anyone else. He not only turned off the communication systems, but also took steps to prevent anyone else on board from sending messages or raising alarms. This involved locking the cockpit door, disabling the emergency transponder, or even altering the cabin's air pressure to incapacitate or harm the passengers and crew. With these chilling actions, he then guided the plane on a predetermined course until its tragic end. Despite years of searching and investigating, there's still no clear explanation for the disappearance of MH370. No one has claimed responsibility, and there's no evidence of mechanical failure, bad weather, fire, or an explosion. There are no signs of a struggle or interference by anyone else on board. In fact, no one else seems to be involved. This leaves us with two main theories. One is that Zahari Ahmad Shah, the pilot, might have diverted and crashed the plane. The other theory suggests it could have been hijacked or intentionally taken off course by someone or a group for political, personal, or financial reasons. It's a perplexing mystery with no easy answers. After MH370 disappeared, investigators searched Zahari's home and took his personal computer and flight simulator. What they discovered was pretty striking. Zahari had been using a simulator to practice flying routes that were strangely similar to the path MH370 took. This included simulated flights over the vast Indian Ocean and landings on distant, isolated islands. Just a few weeks before the flight, Zahari had deleted some data from his simulator. Some experts see this as a possible sign that he had intentions to hijack the plane and take it somewhere secret, or maybe even intentionally crash it into the ocean. It's a puzzling piece of the puzzle that adds to the mystery surrounding this case. During MH370's last communication with air traffic control, it took unexpected turns, veering far from its planned route to Beijing. These maneuvers suggest someone familiar with the plane's systems was in control. What's puzzling is that both of the plane's main communication systems were deliberately turned off, making it vanish from civilian radar and ground-based communication. Satellite data reveals that MH370 continued flying for some time after losing contact, implying it was under deliberate control rather than facing technical issues. Oddly, there was no distress calls from the aircraft, suggesting the pilots may have been unable to send one, hinting at a hijacking. But for a hijacking motive to hold, there should be a clear reason. Some speculate political motivations, perhaps as a statement against the Malaysian government or another group. However, no one has claimed responsibility, which is unusual for politically motivated hijackings. It's a perplexing mystery with no clear answers yet. The disappearance of MH370 presents several possibilities. One theory is hijacking for ransom or to scrap the plane, but no ransom demands were made, and scrapping such a large aircraft is logistically challenging. Another theory is an individual with a personal grudge, from a disgruntled employee to someone against a passenger or the airline. Some experts drew parallels to 9/11, suggesting MH370 might have been hijacked for a terror attack given its fuel load. But no such attack happened, and no group claimed responsibility. A more startling theory is accidental shooting down. This could have occurred during military exercises in the South China Sea or the Indian Ocean, with the plane mistaken for a threat. Such exercises often involve live fire drills, and civilian aircraft have been mistakenly targeted before. MH370's erratic flight path hints at evasive maneuvers or external control. After losing contact with air traffic control, MH370 made unexpected turns and flew back across the Malay Peninsula. This change in direction might have been an attempt to avoid something, possibly a perceived threat. Strangely, the plane's transponder, which helps radar track it, was turned off as it entered Vietnamese airspace, suggesting a bid to go dark and avoid detection. The regions MH370 flew over are monitored by military radar systems. If the plane was shot down, governments might have known but kept it secret to prevent diplomatic issues or hide a tragic mistake. Some nations' reluctance to share radar data at the time could imply an attempt to conceal evidence. One of the most puzzling aspects is the scarcity of wreckage. While some debris confirmed to be from the plane washed ashore in the Indian Ocean, the main wreckage site remains elusive. If the plane was shot down, especially by a missile, it would have shattered into many pieces, scattering debris widely, making the main crash site hard to locate, especially if it's underwater. Over the years, individuals claiming inside information or evidence supporting the shoot-down theory have emerged. These claims lack solid proof and should be viewed skeptically, but add complexity to the mystery. There's also the Southern Arc theory based on satellite data suggesting MH370 ended in the southern Indian Ocean. Some who support the shoot-down theory believe this data might have been misinterpreted or manipulated to divert attention from the true crash site. Apart from the Iran Air Flight 655 incident, there have been other cases where civilian planes were either accidentally or intentionally shot down. One notable example is Korean Air Flight 007, shot down by the Soviet Union in 1983 for entering restricted airspace. These events show that, although rare, such tragedies can happen. Another practical theory is that hazardous cargo in the plane's cargo hold may have caused the disaster. This cargo included lithium-ion batteries, which can be volatile under certain conditions. If these batteries are damaged, overcharged, or exposed to high temperatures, they can catch fire or explode. The Federal Aviation Administration has documented cases of lithium-ion batteries causing fires on planes. Considering MH370 was carrying a substantial shipment of these batteries, it's possible that a malfunction or damage to them could have triggered a fire. Some proponents of the lithium-ion battery theory suggest that a cargo hold fire could have led to rapid decompression or other critical system failures, explaining the sudden and unexplained change in the plane's course. The pilots might have tried to land the plane when they realized there was a fire. If the fire got worse, it could have made them and the plane systems malfunction, causing it to fly off course until it ran out of fuel and crashed. Communication could have also been affected. If a fire started, it might have damaged the plane's communication systems, preventing the pilots from calling for help. Lithium-ion batteries can start fires quickly, as seen in past incidents. These batteries were on MH370, and they've caused problems on other planes too, highlighting the risks of transporting them by air. The official report on MH370 didn't confirm that the batteries caused the fire, but it didn't rule it out either. The fact that they were on board and known to be risky lends some credibility to this theory. There was some confusion initially about whether the batteries were on the cargo manifest. Malaysia Airlines first said they weren't, but later investigations showed that over 200 kilograms of batteries were indeed on the plane. This inconsistency has made some people think that the potential dangers of carrying these batteries were underestimated. One argument against other theories, like a mid-air explosion, is the lack of widespread debris. If a fire caused by lithium-ion batteries incapacitated the plane systems and crew, the plane might have flown on autopilot until it ran out of fuel and made a relatively intact water landing. And this could explain why there was so little debris found in the days after the plane disappeared. Researchers from the University of Western Australia joined the search for MH370's crash site, and they use a technique called reverse drift modeling, which analyzes ocean currents, winds, and waves to simulate how objects float in the water. A research team used a technique called reverse drift modeling to analyze 22 pieces of likely MH370 debris. In their 2017 study, they suggested a possible location, and in 2021, they used a new technology called Weak Signal Propagation Reporter to track the plane. With WSPR signals, they reconstructed MH370's path after it vanished from radar. They found 67 positions over 6 hours and 27 minutes. Their analysis led them to suggest a crash site 842 nautical miles from Perth, Australia, which matched previous Boeing and Inmarsat findings and UWA's debris drift analysis. They also propose using WSPR to track planes in remote areas. British engineer Richard Jeffrey used satellite radar, oceanographic, and radio data to study MH370's path. And these efforts helped solve the mystery, bringing closure to victims' families, and show WSPR's potential in aviation and oceanography. He combined the data with information from satellite pings received by Inmarsat and other sources. His analysis showed that MH370 flew for nearly 7 hours after losing contact, covering about 5,000 kilometers. It flew west over the Malay Peninsula, then turned south over the Indian Ocean. Influenced by wind and Earth's rotation, it ultimately crashed into the ocean about 2,000 kilometers west of Perth, Australia, different from the initial search area. Experts and families of MH370 victims praise Jeffrey's work. Do you think it's worth it? Let us know in the comments section below, and please do subscribe to our channel for more great videos.